Hi everyone! Today is an extra fun edition of our MacLib Lab series. Have you ever wanted to run 80s and 90s Mac programs but you don't own a vintage Macintosh? Well, with the power of emulation, we can do just that. On this episode, Ms. Fox and I will tell you how to set up Basilisk II for emulating a 68K Macintosh, and how to get it connected to your real Mac.
Well, thanks for that introduction, Mackie. We have been getting a lot of questions from fans on how to set up a Macintosh emulator. And today we'll be going over how to set up my favorite emulator, Basilisk II, on a modern Macintosh.
Why not any of the other emulators? I've heard you talk about, what was it, Mini VMac and Sheep something.
You do make a good point, Mackie. Let's go over the three most popular emulators for Macintoshes. There's Mini VMac, Basilisk II, and Sheep Shaver. Mini VMac is a great piece of software for emulating the very first Macintosh, all the way up to the Macintosh 2. This emulator makes your life easy by giving you the ability to drag and drop disk images and files to and from your virtual classic Macintosh. Mini VMac is my recommendation for quickly running vintage black and white Macintosh software on your system. The creator of Mini VMac has created a website that lets you download pre-compiled versions of the emulator, as well as the ability to customize the emulator if you donate a small fee. A service that I highly recommend if you want to add things like color, custom resolutions, and just expand the emulator's functionality.
We've used Mini VMac in our 3D printing a Mini Mac episode. Be sure to check it out at this link right here, up in the right corner.
Next, we have Basilisk II. While Mini VMac excels in its simplicity, Basilisk excels at being a robust emulator, emulating the Macintosh 2 and Quadra line of computers, the fastest Motorola 68K-based Macs. Basilisk II gives you the ability to run System 7 to macOS 8.1. Think of this as your virtual LC575 or equivalent, but with a lot more processing power thanks to its emulated CPU. The other emulators are more for PowerPC-based machines. Sheep Shaver is created by the same team as Basilisk II and has a similar GUI and setup, but is geared towards emulating a PowerPC machine like a blue and white G3. And finally, we have QEMU, or QEMU. This is the most advanced emulator and the most complex to set up. The Emaculation forum users have created QEMU builds for emulating PowerPC Macs with OS X. And we'll have to talk about this in a future video. But I wanted to talk about Basilisk first, since it can emulate my favorite Motorola 68K based systems that run System 7.
Oh yeah, that's the best Macintosh era. Woo! Don't forget that you can connect Basilisk II to the internet, and even Apple file shares on your network.
That's right, Mackie. Basilisk II and Sheep Shaver have a built-in ability to create a virtual network device by their SLIRP interface, or SLIRP interface, to emulate a PPP, or point-to-point connection. Additionally, you can use a virtual reverse NAT interface to create an inbound connection through specific TCP/IP ports.
What?
In other words, Basilisk II is easy to connect to the internet, and we'll show you how to do it.
Ooh, awesome!
First, let's gather all the files we need. Links to all these will be in the description.
We'll need to download a System 7 or macOS 8 CD from Macintosh Garden. In this case, we're using the best OS, System 7!
Also, download a Macintosh ROM, which is essentially the firmware for your classic Macintosh. In this tutorial, we'll be using the Macintosh 2CI ROM. Once again, links are in the description for these particular files that you see here. While you can start with a totally blank installation, I love starting with disk images created by Dave and Steve over on savagetailor.com. If you downloaded the 7.5.5 drive image, you can immediately boot into a minimal System 7 installation with useful Macintosh tools already installed. This image is amazing since it already has tools built in like StuffIt, ResEdit, and HDSC Setup, and also web browsers like Netscape and iCab. For this tutorial, I'm using the 7.5.5 Drive image. Be sure you get the Drive image since this is meant to be ran on an emulator like Basilisk II or Mini VMac. Additionally, I recommend downloading the RaSCSI Bootstrap disk image from Macintosh Garden. I'm having you download this image since it has a version of Open Transport 1.3 and the Apple Share Client 3.83. These files will make your life easy when it comes to getting your Mac online and getting connected to vintage file servers on your network.
And finally, you'll need the emulator itself. Head on over to Emaculation website and download both the Basilisk II and the Basilisk II GUI for your Mac.
And of course, for Windows users, you'll have to download the Windows version. Most of this tutorial will be applicable to you, just the GUI setup will be a little bit different for Windows. I linked the Basilisk II GUI and emulator in the description. You'll need the GUI program to modify the settings, and the other file is the actual emulator that you run. Okay, so once you have downloaded all the files you need, go ahead and extract them all into one folder. I went ahead and created a folder called Original Files and moved the zip files there. Go ahead and launch your Basilisk II GUI application. It should warn you that this application was downloaded from the internet, and if you're okay to run it. Click OK, and then we'll go to our Setup GUI. We can set all the emulator options here. So go to the System tab, and here we can set the RAM size. I'm going to go ahead and use 128 megabytes. Our CPU is going to be the amazingly fast 68040. Next, we have to choose a ROM. Go ahead and browse to the Macintosh 2CI ROM that we downloaded earlier. Click on the Ports tab. We shouldn't have to change anything here. You should see that your Ethernet port is set to SLIRP or SLIRP. This will allow the emulated system to connect to the internet using a virtual network device. On Windows, you may have to choose SLIRP on the Ethernet device drop-down menu. We shouldn't have to change anything under Keyboard and Mouse, so go ahead and move to the Graphics and Sound tab. Here you can see your desired resolution and refresh rate. I like to set my resolution to 640 by 480, since that's what most of the games and applications are built from the System 7 era. Feel free to experiment with these resolutions and settings as it suits your needs. It's recommended to leave your refresh rate to dynamic and leave your video type to window so that you can easily switch from your host system back to your emulated Mac. Okay, the next step is all about getting your virtual hard disk drive set up. Here is where you can add the disk images we downloaded in the first steps. Or, if you so choose, you can create a totally fresh install and create a blank hard disk using this Create button. In this case, we want to mount our extracted 755 2 GB disk image that we downloaded from savagetailor.com. This will be our primary boot drive. One thing to note, Basilisk II will boot from the first drive on the list, so be careful in which order you mount things. To prevent any accidental writing to the installation CD, right-click your macOS 761 Toast image and click the Locked checkbox. Also, you'll want to rename your RaSCSI Bootstrap.hda file to a .dsk file. This way, Basilisk can mount this image. Okay, load up your macOS 7.6.1 installation image and your RaSCSI Bootstrap image. Remember, make sure you have the 755 2 GB image as the first one on the list. Be sure to click the Save button on the bottom left corner. I had trouble getting the Start button at the bottom to launch the emulator, so I just saved it and switched over to launching the Basilisk II application, and it instantly booted to our desktop.
Whoa! That was lightning fast! You're already in System 7? Emulators are amazing! So, what can we do now?
Well, if you're fine with the minimal 7.5.5 installation, you can go ahead and skip this next step. But if you want to get your emulated Macintosh online and connected to your real LAN, connected to actual Macs, you should proceed with installing System 761 on top of the 755 boot disk. So let's go ahead and install System 7.6.1. Open the macOS 761 image, then click the installer icon. Let's choose our destination disk. Make sure it's the 755 image we have mounted as our main drive. Next, we'll go to step 4 on the installation and click Install. Thanks to the speed of Basilisk II, everything should install within a minute or so. Once you reboot, you'll be in System 7.6.1. So let's rename the boot disk to the classic Macintosh HD. Next, we're going to set up Open Transport and Apple File Share. Open Transport will give your classic Macintosh a modern TCP/IP implementation, replacing the old Mac TCP. I'm stealing these setup files from our RaSCSI Bootstrap Image. It's nice when users package these image files into one easy-to-access package. Let's go to the network folder of our RaSCSI Bootstrap drive. Then, highlight and drag the files while holding down Option to copy them to your Macintosh HD. I then drag these files into my network folder and extracted the Apple Share Client StuffIt file and the Open Transport disk images. You should be able to just double-click the SIT file and it will automatically extract to the current folder. However, if that doesn't work, you can navigate to the Store Mount folder on your drive and install StuffIt Expander 5.5. Open Transport is distributed as 4 virtual disk images. You can mount these files to your Mac by using the shrink wrap software or drop disk. You should be able to just double-click the install IMG files and they'll mount to your desktop. If it does, go ahead and mount all 4 disk images. If you're having issues mounting the images, install shrink-wrap 351. It should be on your Store Mount folder on your Mac HD. Be sure to use the serial number to perform a full install. Open the first image and run the installer. Be sure that the target disk is your system disk. Once everything is installed, you should reboot. So now it's time to install the Apple Share client. This will allow you to connect to Apple file share servers that you have on your local network.
So this can connect to the Raspberry Pi file server that we set up in the RaSCSI video?
Yes, it does. This will allow us to directly share files from our emulated Mac with any other real Mac that has network access.
Ah, the future. Oh yeah. If you want to know more about setting up a Raspberry Pi file server, check out our RaSCSI video.
To install the Apple file share software, extract the Apple Share client file using StuffIt Expander. You should get an SMI file. This is a self-mounting image that will mount to your desktop when opened. We can then run the installer just like before and reboot the machine. Okay, so now that we've done all the tedious network install stuff, let's go ahead and connect to the internet. But first, we have to go to our control panel and open the TCP/IP settings. You'll get a warning saying that TCP/IP isn't active. Click Yes. Make sure you have the Connect via Ethernet selected and go ahead and leave your configuration up to the Slurp DHCP server. Close the window and click Save. Now we should be able to access our local network.
Ooh, now that we're fully connected, let's get online.
Thanks to SavageTailor.com's pre-made image, we have an iCab and Netscape installation already on the hard drive. Let's see if we can load the awesome new website, MacintosHlibrarian.com. And here we are, the new MacintosHlibrarian.com, which is fully compatible with old web browsers.
And there are some awesome gifs of me.
Now that we have web access on our virtual machine, we can download games directly from a website like System7today.com.
Ooh, big glider.
Also, we can connect to our Raspberry Pi Apple file server on our local library network. To do this, go to Chooser, Apple Share, click Server IP address, and type the IP address of your local Apple file share, and bingo, you're now connected to your local remote server. Now you can use the power of your emulator to unstuff larger files and then easily transfer them to a real machine. Okay, so what if you don't want to get your emulator connected to the net? How do you transfer files to your emulated Macintosh? Well, Basilisk II has the ability to mount a local machine path on your modern Mac and send that over to your emulated machine. Just open the Basilisk II GUI, go to the Volumes tab, and under the Unix root entry, click Browse and choose a folder that you want to share with your emulated machine. I recommend creating a new folder and placing all your classic Mac downloads there so that everything is all in one place and you avoid giving your emulated Mac full access to your hard drive. So you can now download CIT files for Macintosh Garden and place them in your newly created transfer folder. Let's go ahead and get PowerPete, Crystal Quest 2, and Prince of Persia. You'll want to extract these CIT files inside your emulator using Stuffit Expander. And you may be tempted to extract these CIT files on your modern machine, but due to the way the classic macOS handles file extensions and metadata, you may run into some issues using your files in System 7. Therefore, just extract them in your emulator, and it'll save you the headache of any corrupted files. So I went ahead and extracted PowerPete, an awesome top-down shooter that I played as a kid. You play as a big chin muscly guy, shooting at enemies and collecting power-ups.
Ooh, can I play?
Here you go, Mackie. You should give it a shot.
I haven't played this game in forever. Ooh, take that. Yeah. Aw, I died. How do I make this thing full screen? If it were full screen, I'd be playing a whole lot better.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. To make it full screen, you have to press Control and Enter on the keyboard. And if you want your mouse to be captured in the emulator, you can use Control F5, which is great for games like Crystal Crazy or Glider.
Ooh, full screen. Thanks, Miss Fox. I'm gonna keep messing around with this here emulator for a little bit.
Well, that's all for today's labs video on how to set up the awesome Basilisk II emulator. I'll include a link to all the files you need in the video description. Be sure to check out our other videos on vintage Macintoshes and Apple software. And as always, this video is brought to you by viewers like you. And thank you to all my Patreons who supported me.
Goodbye, everyone. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.